Hey everyone, this is Mind Body Connection with a book summary of an awesome book called The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. This book talks about why we have habits and, more importantly, what we can do to change them. But don't expect to read this book and drop all of your bad habits. It's not effortless. Changing bad habits takes a lot of work and self-discipline, but it can be done. Think of a bad habit like the crease you get when you fold a piece of paper. Even when you unfold the paper, the crease will still be there. Habits never fully disappear. And believe it or not, this is because your brain is trying to help you. Think about it. Habits help us from having to relearn how to ride a bike if we haven't done it for years. And it also allows us to avoid having to relearn how to drive a car after a vacation. And thousands of other things that we do subconsciously that we don't have to think about. Habits will always be there, but the good news is we can keep making new and stronger creases. So we know the bad habits will always still be there in the background, but we can remain focused on developing new and better habits. The birthplace of all your habits is in the limbic system section of your brain. This section is often called the animal brain. Its main goal is to avoid pain and gain pleasure. Since the animal part of your brain is pleasure-seeking, it doesn't know the difference between good habits or bad habits. This section of your brain is often in conflict with the logic and reasoning side of your brain called the prefrontal cortex. You can often hear these sides of the brain talking to each other, especially if you've ever tried to change a bad habit. This is how we are able to criticize ourselves even while we're doing something we know we shouldn't be doing. Your brain loves habits. Habits are the shortcuts that your brain makes. They allow us to put some decisions on autopilot while we focus on bigger things. Think about the first time you backed your car out of a driveway. You are probably 100% focused on it at the time, but now you can do it while thinking of a million other things. Habits allow our brains to ramp down and save effort so we can move on to bigger things. Habits helped our ancestors focus on avoiding predators, rather than spend their time and thoughts on remembering how to breathe and how to walk. Nowadays we rely on habits to take care of the mundane details of our day while we focus on the bigger picture, such as improving our lives and the lives of those around us. The first step in changing a habit is understanding how it works. All habits, good or bad, have a loop. Without habit loops, our brains would be overworked and would have to remember every little thing. The habit loop is made up of three parts: the cue, the routine, and the reward. The cue is the trigger to go into autopilot mode and use a habit. The cue can be anything. It can be a change in emotion, a place, a time of day, a certain person, a sequence of thoughts, a visual trigger such as a TV commercial for a chocolate bar or McDonald's. The routine is the mental, physical, or emotional action you take to the cue. The last part of the loop is the reward. Remember, we said the brain is always seeking to gain pleasure or to avoid pain. This is where your brain gets a pleasurable reward and decides if the loop is worth remembering or not. If the loop is worth remembering, the brain strengthens it, just like you strengthen your muscles at the gym. Each time you complete the loop, it gets stronger and stronger, making it more difficult to break. This is why trying to change a bad habit is not easy. The brain doesn't like change. It views change as a threat to survival. The brain likes things the way they were. Let's look at this loop for both a bad habit and a good one. Many men have a problem these days with internet porn due to its easy access and high reward. The cue to watch porn can be many things. It's not always just being horny. It can be stress, boredom, or escape from problems. The routine is when you turn on your computer and visit a site. The reward is an orgasm, which overloads your brain with the feel-good hormone, dopamine, which is the most pleasurable reward Mother Nature can give. A key takeaway from this book is that when we try to drop a bad habit, we only focus on dropping the routine. But we need to focus on the cue and the reward. The cue can be hard to identify. It's not always easy to find. But when you feel the bad habit coming on, ask yourself, what is the real craving driving this routine? So if your cue is stress, find new ways to deal with stress. If your cue is boredom, find new challenging goals that keep you busy pursuing your passions. You have to decide ahead of time what you will do when the cue comes. What will be your plan of action? You can also change your reward by changing what your brain links pain and pleasure to. Let's look at the same loop for someone who loves running. The cues can be stress, boredom, escape from problems, and a desire to change your body. The routine is when you grab your shoes and you get out there and run. The reward is feeling good about yourself and how you look, a sense of accomplishment, and knowing you are improving your life. As you can see, both good habits and bad habits follow the same loop, but it's also easy to see why so many of us are depressed, overweight, and broke. We live in an instant gratification society where rewards for bad habits often outweigh the rewards for good habits. So you have to remind yourself that if every day you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if every day you do what is hard, your life will be easy. Willpower works in the same way as a habit. It gets stronger and stronger as you practice it. Understanding your habit loops is just the first step to breaking a bad habit. Another key takeaway from this book is that there is no one way to change a habit. It's different for everyone. But the thing to remember, and this is really important, what separates us from the animals is decision. We are able to interrupt the habit loop. We can stop ourselves and make a decision to make a change. We can say, that's it, enough, I'm not doing this anymore, and you decide in your mind that you will no longer accept this reward. You always have the freedom to choose, it's up to you, but you will need self-discipline, and you will need to believe you can change. I'm sure you've heard stories of people whose habits were so ingrained that they were addicted to certain drugs. The cravings were so bad that they hallucinated seeing bugs crawling all over their skin. If these people are able to change their habits, you can change yours. You need to believe that things will get better, and you need to believe that you can survive the cravings. I really hope you check out this book. It reminds us that success comes from having great habits. And if you'd like to hear more book summaries and some of the best self-development books ever written, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks.